You are watching Yeticket.com with Al McGee, movie reviews and interviews. This is Yeticket.com. Yeticket.com, your entertainment ticket.
We are your entertainment ticket, that's right. Yeticket.com. We are your entertainment ticket, that's right.
Hey, I'm Al McGee with your entertainment ticket at www.yeticket.com. The film I'm going to talk about right now is called Free State of Jones. Wow, what a name, huh? Free State of Jones. Well, this is about the Civil War. This is about after the Civil War. This is about a guy named Newton Knight. This is about a real person, a true person in the past, a true person in history. Well, this is directed by Gary Ross. You know, Gary Ross did Pleasantville and Seabiscuit. And he also wrote the screenplay, too. I wish he had a little bit more help with the screenplay, because with this story and trying to put all this in 2 hours, you know, it came out okay, but it still wasn't enough, and it wasn't done the way I was completely satisfied. Well, anyway, the Free State of Jones is about, again, Newton Knight, which is played by Matthew McConaughey, and he's a soldier in the Confederate Army. He's a medic. But what happened, his cousin got drafted into it, and he got shot, and he died. So Newton took him home to be buried properly, you know, with his kinfolk. But he deserted his post, and now he's a fugitive from the Confederate Army. But when he gets home, he realized that the Confederate soldiers, or they call themselves tax collectors, were taking advantage of the women and children on the farms. In other words, the tax collectors supposed to only take 10% from the farms and use those supplies to feed the Confederate soldiers and things like that. But, you know, they were taking advantage of them. They were taking more than their fair share. So he went up against them. They went up against him. So he had to run and leave his wife and son on the farm, and he had to go to the swamps. And while he was in the swamps, he found some runaway slaves and some other white guys too who was running away there. So while he was there, they formed a coalition where they went against the Confederate soldiers, then eventually went against the other people too around there, and they survived. Then the war was over, but then this is what happens. He tried to help the freed slaves. They're no longer slaves, but the Confederacy brought in other new laws to still make them slaves there, but they didn't call them that. And he worked on that and also showed how the North, you know, had a big influence there until they left the South. And then things just came ahead where African Americans could not even vote properly or own land and things like that. And the other part about this too, they kept cutting away to a trial in 1948 where one of Newton's kinfolk, his name is Davis Knight. He's a white-skinned descendant of Knight. Let me back up a little bit. Well, Knight also had a former slave woman made him his wife, and they had kids. And here it showed they only had one kid, but they probably had more kids. And this is a descendant of one of the kids, and he looks passing for white, but for some reason they found out that he had one drop of black blood, or Negro blood as they call it, and he was married to a white woman, and that was illegal in 1948. So he's gonna go to jail for that in 1948. So they was cutting back and forth for that, and that again made it a little bit confusing. And also, it really showed too how Cotton was the king compare it to something like oil today, how cotton was the measure of like we have oil today. They were fighting for cotton, and for the guys to stay rich. And there was lot of facts in this film. For example, I didn't realize that to be a soldier in the Confederacy, you had to be poor, no slaves, really no land. And they were fighting for the rich farmers, rich slaveholders there in the Confederacy. Very interesting, like I said, but a lot of facts. It was hard to put them in this film. Also in this film, too, is Gugu, Mbatha-Raw, beautiful woman. Mahershala Ali, he's in this. Keri Russell. Christopher Berry, Sean Bridges. Thomas Francis Murphy. Bill Tangradi. Brian Lee Franklin. Jacob Lofland. And Joe Chrest are in this film. Also, like I said, it was written by Gary Ross. It was entertaining, but a little confusing. There was so much there. They couldn't put it all in, but they tried. And it left me, wanting more, and I wasn't satisfied. So I'm only giving this 2.5 palm trees out of 4, which is still pretty good. It's above average. And the acting was good in this, too. You really enjoyed Matthew McConaughey in this. But like I say, I still wasn't satisfied. Free State of Jones, only 2.5 palm trees for me, Al McGee, here at www.yeticket.com.
We are your entertainment ticket, that's right. Yeticket.com. We are your